This year, the Philippines takes at the helm of ASEAN, not just as hosts of summits and leaders, but as the driver of real economic opportunity for every Filipino entrepreneur. Join us as we sit down with Mr. Joey Concepcion, founder of Go Negosyo and chair of the ASEAN Business Advisory Council Philippines, to unpack what this historic chairmanship means.
We will try to also bring itong mga malaking negosyante galing sa ASEAN to see and meet our MSMEs.
When you do well, you help others. So those others who will one day become like you will help also the other people.
I call it always the circle of prosperity.
We are now open for business.
It is a signal to the world we are open for business.
In 2026, the Philippines holds the chairmanship of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, a once-in-a-decade opportunity to lead a 700 million strong regional community towards peace, prosperity, and people empowerment. Under the national theme, Navigating Our Future Together, the chairship prioritizes inclusive growth, digital transformation, AI adoption for socioeconomic development, and stronger regional integration with micro, small, and medium enterprises squarely at the center of that agenda. To help us understand how this year's ASEAN leadership can unlock opportunities for local businesses to compete regionally, and how MSMEs can be more than beneficiaries but active drivers in ASEAN's economic future, we welcome Mr. Joey Concepcion. He is the chairman of ASEAN Business Advisory Council Philippines, a long-time champion of entrepreneurship in the country, and the founder of Go Negosyo, a movement that empowers countless Filipino entrepreneurs. How are you, Sir Joey?
Good.
Maraming salamat po. I think this is the second time that you guested in Open for Business. The first time was via Zoom, and that was during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Sir Joey, every time we hear your name, Joey Concepcion, we immediately think of your advocacy for changing mindset and attitude, addressing poverty by engaging in entrepreneurship. How do you feel that you are inspiring maybe 1 million who are joining your entrepreneurial revolution?
Matagal na kami. We're about 20 years. It actually started way back nung naging presidente si Duterte. And I became his advisor in helping MSMEs. And from then, we started Go Negosyo. Actually, even GMA's time, we were already.
Yes.
We started Go Negosyo when she was the president. At kasi yung father ko, she was working for my dad as undersecretary, and my dad was secretary of trade at that time. And he was also involved kasi as trade secretary, you become involved with the ASEAN. At dati, matagal lang itong ASEAN. It's been there for many years. No? I guess being an entrepreneur, doing well in yung kumpanya namin, RFM Corporation, from a simple flour mill, we started. That was my father's era. Then we went into consumer goods. Growing your business is not enough. Helping other people is important. And for the last 20 years, yung Go Negosyo talagang umunlad. At kasama namin dito lahat ng mga LGUs. Governors, mayors, pag narinig nila ang Go Negosyo papunta dyan, they will insist na dapat tulungan niyo kami dito. So, we have maybe close to 400 plus mentors. At walang bayad sa kanila, no? They give their time free on a weekend, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hindi lang sa Metro Manila, no? We've been to Cebu and other areas. Kasi pag itong hosting natin, it's gonna start now. No? That's very big. In fact, it has started. Yung turnover, I don't know if you saw that with the President in Malacanang, kasama First Lady, kasama dyan si Tony Fernandez. Tony Fernandez is the owner of AirAsia. is the current ASEAN-BAC chair for Malaysia. So when Malaysia was the host last year, the turnover ceremony officially is done in the Philippines. So nangyari na yan sa Malacanang. And close to 250 of big business were there to witness that.
What is interesting is that somehow you created a concept of volunteerism wherein you just are not concerned with your own business, but you created that movement to help other entrepreneurs. Was that really a plan ever since? Was that also part of your vision to create this movement to help not just your family business, but to extend that kind of assistance to the other MSMEs?
Well, when you benefit from, in life, you are fortunate to be in, like in my case, the CEO of RFM. The company has done well. We've grown it to where it is today. We've expanded. We're into ice cream, producing flour for all the bread, the pasta, and all of that. It's important that when you reach the top, you have to help those at the bottom. And I always explain to many of those who attend our mentoring events, I call that the circle of prosperity. When you do well, you help others, so those others who will one day become like you will help also the other people. So it's like a circle. The faster the circle goes, like a tire in the car running, then that means you're bringing people and elevating their lives. I'm very conscious about it because we are the host this year. Pero sa tingin ko, hindi naman lahat ng mga people will be able to enter and attend the ASEAN Business Summit, no? Kasi ang mahal mga ticket dyan, no? We might have people going in the streets and hopefully they don't, saying, bakit sila lang kami hindi pwede dyan, no? And that's the reason why we are launching Trabaho at Negosyo.
Trabaho at Negosyo, which is exactly why we are also approaching you now, sir. Kasi siyempre noong naibalita na tayo na ang ASEAN Chair this year, so maraming nagtatanong, how will MSMEs benefit from these? Iniisip nila baka the large enterprise, the multinationals will benefit, but essentially the ones, the MSME sector who comprise, I think, more than 99% nga, will not feel it. So you, sir, being our major personality or the key mover of Philippine MSMEs in the country, paano nga po ba makikinabang ang mga maliliit na negosyante sa chairmanship na ito?
Well, yung ginagawa namin while we will be hosting the event and we will be bringing the leaders here, hopefully we're able to bring President Trump, Prime Minister Modi, the Russian Prime Minister Medvedev, and it's important that under the hosting of the ASEAN, especially the President, that is very important kasi you are measured on the basis of how many state leaders will come to the Philippines. And the more state leader that comes, that means these countries consider the Philippines as a potential partner. No? And that's very important. This is the very reason why we're trying to make it also inclusive. As I was saying, itong mga malls ng SM Ayala, I'm sure they will partner with us to allow the population, those who cannot enter, to be able to witness it in the mall with a huge LED screen. So we cannot beam it in their houses, but we can beam it in the malls. What is happening, these meetings, these conferences, so para makita nila that they're at least part of it. Now, if we can also transmit it to television or whatever,
and
or social media, live stream, we will do that. No? We want it to be inclusive. I'm sure many people will say, pangmayaman lang yan. Hindi tayo, we can't be there. Yung mga damit namin, hindi, kasi in an ASEAN meeting, kailangan medyo may jacket ka, formal. All those who are paying the tickets have to be properly dressed. No? Walang rubber shoes dyan. So they will feel isolated. Kaya we said, let's have a Trabaho at Negosyo, which we have been planning for a long time.
Ano ito, sir? Trabaho at Negosyo. And what's the target market? Ito ba parang ticketed din po ba ito?
No,
parang
it's all
ASEAN?
free. You enter the door of the mall, you participate. At ginawa na namin yan together with Tessie Coson in SM, sa Mall of Asia. And you have your job fairs. At the same time, you have your mentors helping the MSMEs. So in the past, it was purely basically helping the negosyantes scale up. Ngayon, ang gagawin namin, the job fairs also. That's big. So we have talked to PCCI and all of that the companies who are hiring, they can go there in the mall and they will have a booth so that those who are looking for jobs, trabaho, they can meet these corporate people who are hiring people. And that's what we want to do. No?
Is this going to be during the ASEAN summit itself, or is it going to be a continuing activity?
No, it will start as we, it's starting now. We're going to launch Trabaho at Negosyo, I think, in one of the malls soon. But it will continue all the way. What we continue to have is what we call 3M on Wheels, which is mentorship, money, and market. Matagal na yan. It's all over for the past 20 years. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring it and brand it as negosyo. So that's why we decided to just use two words, trabaho at negosyo. It's very clear to MSMEs, if they are not entrepreneurs, then and they're looking for a job, well, here's the place that you can look for a job. So we're going to call on the big companies who are hiring people. They can set up booths there in the malls, and at least it becomes more inclusive. And as I was saying, we will have the LEDs there so that for them to be able to see what is happening during the ASEAN events. No? I'm sure the government will beam it in TV, but these people will want to go to the mall, so there are more people who will be able to see it. And we will also invite some of the ASEAN delegates who are here to come and speak to them. There may be celebrities that will come, so we may see if we can bring them to the malls as well. No?
Kaya lang, Sir Joey, hindi ba nila sasabihin na, baka Manila-centric lang yan or urban-centric lang yan? Are there opportunities where this trabaho at negosyo can also go to the different provinces while the ASEAN chairmanship is ongoing?
Part of the government mandate is the ASEAN will not only be in Manila. It will move to Cebu. That's where the leaders will be. We will be also going to Boracay because, as you bring these people from ASEAN countries, you want to show them the beauty of your country. So when they see the beaches that we have, the mountains that we have, and many of them are golfers, then you're promoting the Philippine setting. That it's more fun and to be in the Philippines, and it's beautiful to be in the Philippines. So not all of them have been to these areas. Like when we are hosted by them, Laos was the chair a couple of years back, and we were required to fly to Laos. But when I got there, I said, wow, you're in this river channel, and it's beautiful, it's different. So
it's a discovery.
It's a discovery. So each country, the 10 or now 11 countries, that rotation is happening. You will be the chair, and then you pass it on to the next chair. So after my chairship here, I will pass it on to Singapore. Then they'll pass it on to another country, about 11 countries. So that's the only way that you can really solidify ASEAN as one strong economic bloc. It's katulad ng Europe, di ba? If I'm one country, I cannot compete against a huge country. But if I group together with the ASEAN countries and we work together, then we can attract more tourists, we can collaborate. That's why we have the ASEAN Food Security Alliance, because we're now getting big agri companies here to either bring in investors from Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, etc. to set up. And we have so much land here that we're now working with the Department of Agri and Department of Agrarian and Farm, the SEC Australia, that we have to collaborate, because it's when you have size, your cost becomes lower. You have to have scale. If you're just a small farmer there, it's not going to work. That's why they have cooperatives. But imagine if you now have big companies like here, agri companies, working with another big agri company in another ASEAN country, then you become stronger.
Which exactly is one of the key issues in ASEAN, sir. It says here that food security has been elevated under this chairmanship. So what role can agripreneurs and rural MSMEs play in strengthening regional food systems?
And that's why mga events katulad ng ASEAN brings about, your big brothers in various sectors, whether it's digitalization, whether it's agriculture,
etc., we come together. And what I've seen kasi, importante is the relationship. Kasi if we want to become partners, we have to know each other well. There must be mutual trust. So, itong mga events ng ASEAN brings about, the togetherness. So, you meet these people, you become friends. When I first joined ASEAN, I didn't know anybody. My father passed on. The others who were still there from the Philippine delegation were the ones who sort of guided me on how it works. And today, I've been the chairman for a couple of times already. So, yan ang nangyayari. In other words, big brother helping the small brother. So whether now as host, so this is maybe the third time, maybe fourth to fifth time already that we have hosted over the past 10, 15 years. And it continues. So, katulad ng Amerika, 51 states. Ang laki nun, di ba? Kung tayo lang mag-isa, Philippines, how can you compete against countries that are so huge? There are more resources, there's more talent base. So, rather than ASEAN countries fighting each other and competing, group together so you could become stronger.
Economic bloc, okay. But sir, pagdating naman po sa outcomes, kasi sabi nyo nga, every year, a different country hosts it, di ba? So, pero pagkatapos ng taong ito, in terms of specific MSME-related outcome, I'm sure there's different outcomes. There's different metrics by different departments and agencies. Sa inyo, dahil kayo nga po ang isa sa aming mga tinitingala na personalidad sa larangan ng MSME, pagkatapos po nito, meron po ba kayong specific metrics or specific outcome in mind that you want to accomplish after this chairmanship?
Yung Go Negosyo, nag-umpisa yan during even as far as partly in Cory's time, GMA's time, Duterte's time. So over time, we've grown. We've been around for already 20 years. Bihira yan mangyari sa isang foundation na yung suporta namin galing sa private sector, yung SM, lahat ng mga companies. And why are they supporting a program like this? Kasi alam nila that yung Philippines, tama yan at the bottom of the pyramid, ang laki ng bottom natin na mahirap. Yung mga mayaman katulad namin, we're at the top of the pyramid. The economy is growing the way it's going. But if we're able to, as I say, lift those people up from micro to small, small to medium. Tira mo si Manny Villar, what was he before? He started from nothing, right?
Yes.
Now, billionaire na siya, di ba? So, in other words, it is always possible, but you have to be guided by mentors that can help you and then a network of businessmen that will always help you. So, this is what the role of Go Negosyo is. We mentor and the mentors that dumadating sa amin, walang bayad yan. Walang bayad yan. They do it voluntarily to help these people kasi I call it always the circle of prosperity. I've done well. That's why, I'm the CEO of RFM. Company has done well because I'm giving back. All of us cannot bring what we make in the next life.
That's right.
Maiiwan lahat yung pera mo dito.
So, correct. So enjoy it or pay forward.
So, that's the whole essence. That's why I always say, I call it the circle of prosperity.
You keep mentioning about this relationship with the different countries bonding themselves together. How about the opportunity for MSMEs to expand in these Asian countries? Because we see Filipino brands now, going international. Some of them are highlighted in the international stage already. Is that somehow a part of the chairmanship wherein you break a specific MSME, maybe get the market linkages for them to expand?
When we host the ASEAN, lahat ng mga negosyante galing sa these countries are going to be here. They'll all be here because this is the biggest event of ASEAN. Kaya the networking is there. Now, yung mga maliit na farmers natin, syempre mahirapan sila pumasok dito kasi there are fees to be paid. Kaya yung gagawin namin, we will bring it to the malls. They will have mentors there. They will have job fairs there. It will be televised in the mall what is happening in, let's say, an event in PICC and Okada. These are the different hotels that will be having these meetings, these summits. So we're trying to make it as inclusive. And we, as I said, we will try to also bring itong mga malaking negosyante galing sa ASEAN to see and meet our MSMEs. And we have done that in the past, and we have seen the impact. Siyempre, starstruck itong mga micro natin. If they see somebody there that's successful, they'll be mentored, no? Of course, it's not the whole day. There'll only maybe 3 hours of mentoring. We'll have about 50 people to 100 mentors. So we're trying to make it as inclusive. Success, you have to attain it through hard work, basically. Tama yung attitude, always positive, no? We've been around for 20 years. You can see us in the malls. We have mentoring areas. We have entrepreneurs who mentor a micro, a small entrepreneur. And all the malls are open to us for free. And we've been doing that for the last 20 years. We have seen the impact. This ASEAN will just give more awareness, no? Kasi marami dyan, they don't know, okay, paano ako pipilan isang mentor, no? Kasama namin dito rin ang DTI. Secretary Roque, she is an entrepreneur. She owns Camiseta. So it's very rare to see a DTI secretary as an entrepreneur. We get along well because she knows how to help the micro entrepreneurs.
Exactly. Now, speaking of DTI and speaking of Secretary Roque, meron din po kasing specific wish list yung mga MSMEs, di ba? Like, the good thing about, Secretary Roque is that, she knows the heart and mind, the pain points of the MSMEs. In this ASEAN activities po, meron po ba kayong specific key takeaways, that you want MSMEs to learn from the ASEAN? I know that you have been doing this in the past 20 years, but like, say, for example, the speakers given specific briefs on, what topics or highlights they should focus on to really, make this very effective. Kasi kayo, sir, Open for Business covered the PCCI Quezon City induction. Yeah, just seeing your book there, di ba? Parang 8 tips, I think. It's simple, but it's high impact. It's easy to absorb. It's easy to learn, di ba? With the hope that, other big personalities would have that kind of impact as well. How will they, simplify this to ordinary MSMEs or business owners?
Well, if you look at many of our people who watch the movies and all of that, and when they see an artist there, they get starstruck. That is the start of an inspiration, So if you see a businessman, an entrepreneur, successful, then you get starstruck as well, no? But that's the start. That's the seed that's planted in you. When I was young, I wanted to be Batman. That was my goal. A crusader, Cape Crusader. If you look at it today, I'm not Batman, but I'm doing the same thing. I don't have a Robin, but I am able to harness all those out there. I mean, the entrepreneurs who have done well. When you do well, you have to give back. And that's what I call the circle of prosperity. So when you do well, and I help this person, one day that person will help another person. So if you keep doing that, that circle goes faster and faster, and you're able to help more and more and more people. That is the basic principle of the program of Go Negosyo for the past 20 plus years. And we're still around. Normally, foundations will just lie flat. There's really no purpose. But we get mentors, they're not paid. They do it for free. They stay there 8 hours, 10 hours on a weekend to help these people. Why? Because they've done well. You can't bring all your money to the next life. Wala yan, maiiwan lahat yan.
Yeah.
But definitely, whatever you did in helping people, you can bring to the next life.
Now, sir, isa sa mga nagbibigay din ng malaking pera para sa ekonomiya, yung OFWs po natin. Di ba nga po, nung una, ayaw natin ng ganyan dahil may Filipino diaspora. But now, they are now hailed as the heroes, our primary
and those are the
exports.
people we're helping them now because we are now telling them, yung mga pera nyo na binibigay nyo sa pamilya nyo dito, they have to use it properly. So we have an OFW summit We teach
Yun.
the nanays who are here or left behind. Whoever is left behind in the Philippines can start a business. And that's part of the program that we do. Na marami dyan, may puhunan na rin kasi yung asawa nila nasa abroad, kumikita na mas maganda, and they're able to send the money. Now, we have to guide them through on how you use that money. I mean, you just don't buy anything and then mauubos lang yan. You can start a small business. We try to teach them, we guide them. So that's how we're doing it. No?
Wala po bang some sort of duplication? I know that Go Negosyo has a very perfect business case. You have a business model that works, and the reason why you withstood, several administrations because of the concept. Kasi kung marami sanang Go Negosyo, I'm sure po lalaki pa po kayo. Pero may ginagawa po ba yung mga government agencies din na ganyan na somehow alam po natin na tinutulungan din nila kayo? And we welcome the fact that a lot of corporations like SM, SSC, and all the other billionaires are helping you out. But Filipinos or MSMEs would sometimes go directly to the government agency na malapit po sila. Paano po kaya ma-replicate yung business model niyo?
If you look at it now, katulad ng SM, no? Basically, they have a one-stop shop now, I'm told, for getting your government permits and all of that. So, very important, yung trade secretary natin, no? She's an entrepreneur. So, she knows yung mga pain points ng isang entrepreneur. And that's where she's focusing on. No? Nothing is perfect in the Philippine setting. And if you will get tired, wag na, I will not want to be an entrepreneur, ang daming problema. Talagang, you're not going to be successful in life. You have to be persistent, you have to be passionate. And it's never just, a straight line up there, no? Sipag at sika, Manny Villar's famous line, no? Which is true. You can't just bet on luck, no? You have hard work, and if everything falls together, then maybe that's luck, no? But without hard work, passion and all of that, I don't think you'll be successful. You can't say, let's say you pray every day, but you're not doing anything. How will you prosper, no? And that's what we're trying to teach yung mga MSM natin. And I've seen it. Our attendance is phenomenal. There are a lot of people who want to attend. But of course, many people are just curious what is happening here. But once they see, the speaker, the mentor, guide them through, then many of them would cry because they're happy that they're getting guidance. No? So that is why Go Negosyo has been around for over 20 years. My father and his grandfather started the flour mill. That was yung negosyo na dati. And when I took over and my father passed away, I transformed the company into a branded food company. So I bought Selecta Ice Cream, the brand from the Arce family. I brought Cosmos Bottling from the Wong family. So many of these companies that I brought in were from families who were tired of running it and decided just to pass it on. And we purchased these companies, and today they're selected as the #1 ice cream now in the Philippines. So what do? Many of these people who buy ice cream create their own negosyo. They have their own ice cream stores, We guide them through, and that's why I also started Go Negosyo. Because when you become successful, it's very important you come and help others. And to me, the most important line is really the circle of prosperity. People have to understand that when you're up there, you have to devote more time to help those who are down. Para tuloy-tuloy yan. As we keep helping people, then more people will be more prosperous. May spending power sila. They will be able to afford to buy a ref, a television, even a property. And that's how economic growth will happen. If you look at the pyramid, the bottom of the pyramid is the biggest. The one on top is the smallest, and that's the wealthy people. But we have to change that. Ideally, it should be all. So that's the whole goal. And that's why we call them big brothers. And big brothers helping those. Not all micro-entrepreneurs will succeed. The failure rate is very high. But at least those who are persistent and who are hungry to succeed will succeed. That's why you have people like Villar, who was, nothing when he started. And there are many stories like that. Sa 20 years ko na sa Go Negosyo, maraming kwento talaga na talagang maraming nahirapan when they went to our event. What they got is the inspiration. They know more or less where to go the next time. Because lahat itong mga mentoring program, nasa malls lahat. And on a weekend, where do they go? To a place na may aircon, hindi ba?
Okay,
So tama yung mga malls. And then that's where the events are. So they learn from that.
Okay. I see that you are surrounded by millennial, Gen Zs, and also in Go Negosyo events. I see a lot of young people there. Will these topics on digital adoption, on artificial intelligence, be discussed and highlighted at the ASEAN, and how do you think MSMEs respond to this? Lagi pong sinasabi doon sa Open for Business sa mga nagigest ko, pag wala ka online, parang wala ka na. Now, sir, having in various administrations and you are embracing technology as well in your company and in Go Negosyo, gaano po ka-importante ang technology adoption na to? And will this be discussed, AI as well, in the ASEAN chairmanship?
Yeah, I mean, AI is definitely a very important topic. As you know, ChatGPT's stock price has gone through the roof. If you bought it, I'm lucky to have bought some. It has gone through the roof. But AI is fantastic. Why? I think eventually doctors will be replaced. I put my blood test in ChatGPT and it comes out with the results. Do I need to consult the doctor? At least I have a guideline already. It tells you what you have to do. So, I mean, AI, long time ago, this was sci-fi, science.
Yes.
Now it's reality. Now, you don't know, one day it'll be a robot talking to you. Nobody even thought that, all of these phones, smartphones, and all of this technology will really come about. But you can never say, Who knows, one day we'll be able to fly.
But sir, in terms of artificial intelligence, siyempre sinasabi ng mga maliliit na negosyo, digital adoption, talaga bang this is the future? Like say for MSMEs, di ba? Parang yung iba ngayon, online lang, internet lang, may negosyo na. So, gaano ka agile ang isang negosyante or maliit na negosyo to maximize technology?
I would use AI for information. If I need to be advised by somebody, I mean, normally you would go to maybe a dictionary to understand the spelling, but AI can do all of that, So you can, let's say you have a problem, as I was saying, in health, you can try to put down your blood test. It will tell you already what to do. So it's a guideline, but you don't need to believe that 100%. I would say still go to the doctor and verify if it's correct. In the same manner, you can also do that. Let's say you have a problem, you can put it on ChatGPT and see what happens. But I would still rely, even what comes out, I will still go and see a mentor and ask his guidance. So it's always good to try to have a mentor, use the latest technology through your phone, whether it's ChatGPT or there's so many AIs coming out, and use this as a tool to strengthen your knowledge on whatever field of business you want to be in. Many people run into a business, but they don't know what is needed for that business, and they fail. So I always say is that you have to identify, okay, if you want to be into a restaurant business, what is your skill? Do you know how to cook? Do you know? So you really have to embrace it, because some people say, restaurant, sige, magtayo na lang ako ganito. And they do it without proper preparation and studying the whole flow, then they lose money. In Go Negosyo, mentorship is one of the most important. Once you have got a good mentor and you have a good business model, yung ibang bangko, talagang they will offer to lend you money kasi makikita nila na yung negosyo mo is viable.
Looking beyond the summit, what legacy do you hope Philippine leadership will leave in ASEAN for MSME development that future chairs will build upon?
Every chairmanship is an opportunity for, like in the Philippines, I am as chair, to really share our vision as a country. Many of our overseas workers really want to live back in the Philippines eventually. I mean, they've worked so hard to help their family get an education, buy a home, But eventually, they want to come back. That's why we have the OFW Summit annually, because we know there's so many people who want to retire in the Philippines. Not many would like to leave their family and retire somewhere else because their children would have been married to somebody here, and then they want to be with their family. They have left their family for so long, being overseas workers. So helping them settle down and starting a business is what Go Negosyo also does. That's why we have the OFW Summit once a year. No? I'm glad that the brightest minds in the world are coming out with apps that will help people access. Not everybody can get to school, no? And hopefully one day AI will be able to teach people, the knowledge of being an entrepreneur, how do you become an entrepreneur, etc. No? There is a lot of opportunities for every Filipino to rise above poverty. And hopefully, the hosting of this ASEAN will spark more people to aspire for a better life. But that comes with hard work. You have to work hard to get the prize. Knowledge and attitude is very important.
Last year, I covered and I attended the PCCI business conference, and there was a joint memo. It was a strong appeal for the government to respond to the issues of corruption. So far, sir, kayo bilang isa sa mga malalaking personalidad sa larangan ng pagnegosyo, part of that mentions that there should be transparency, accountability, stop corruption. So far, are you feeling that there are solutions being addressed, and is there hope, for the country? Do you see changes that are helpful to Philippine businesses? Ano po yung nararamdaman ninyo na impact at may mga developments po ba na nangyayari?
Well, the incident that happened in Congress a couple of weeks, months ago, put a little setback in the Philippines in terms of image. I'm not saying everybody is at fault. A couple of people who instigated that really created a bad image on the country. But then again, these things have to change. Greater transparency. And the private sector, of course, we are basically the engine of growth because the entrepreneurs, the company owners, are the ones driving these companies to grow. And it's very important that government and the private sector really work as a team. So hopefully what happened months back should never happen again, because we have to show to the world that we in business and in government are really focused on seeing to it that as the Philippines grows in terms of economic spending and all of that, then many people will rise above. There are many in Congress that also have that same passion to really see this country grow. So I hope that, I've shared this with others, that doesn't happen again, especially when we host the ASEAN. It will be very embarrassing. And I know there's a lot of people in Congress who really want to see this country move forward because they've been there, they've seen the level of poverty that this country has faced. But we have to now transform our citizens who have a negative view on this country because they see things from the past, challenges that hit our economy. But this is part of the whole cycle. I mean, Philippines is not a perfect country. People make mistakes. Some make mistakes tremendously the wrong way. Hopefully we move forward and improve our image that we are a country that is transparent and honest and trustworthy. And especially if you're given the role to work for government, you're working for your Filipino brothers and sisters. And that's why I never really wanted to work for government because it's very challenging, So I decided to step in the private sector. For a while, I was an advisor, a couple of presidents, which I enjoyed because I got to understand many things. I was an advisor basically on entrepreneurship. And that's where I learned to focus more on our citizens. At that time, I was focused on myself, growing the company, making RFM a bigger company. That's why we bought Selecta, we bought all of these brands. But now that it's stable and growing, my role now is to help the Filipinos who are at the bottom of the pyramid. If we're able to get them to move up in that pyramid, our economy will do much better. In this administration of President Marcos, it's towards the end of his administration, we have to support the president succeed. Because if he fails, then we move back. We have to move forward. There are many other countries. Remember, countries will compete against each other for trade. It's not that they're going to be our friends. So they are competitors. So we have to be good competitors who play the fair game, and we have to succeed, because then in the end, it is the Filipino people that will benefit from all of this, whatever we do. Whether I work for the private sector or that person works for the public sector, we both in the public and the private sector have to come together. And I'm under the administration of President Marcos. He has made it inclusive. I'm part of the Private Sector Advisory Council on Jobs. So he has gotten the brightest minds, the wealthiest people up in business, helping the country. In other words, I'm also contributing to helping this country grow. And same with all the other Private Sector Advisory Council advisors like Sabina Boitis, and I can mention so many of them, wherein the President created this Private Sector Advisory Council, which I think is going to work, because we're now getting the best minds like Tessie Coson and all of that to give their inputs on how this country can move forward. And our focus should not be ourselves. Our focus should be those at the bottom of the pyramid, the micro, the small entrepreneurs. They have to scale up. And once that happens, this economy will explode.
Wow, very well said. I think that's the best way to end this conversation. Your final message to MSMEs, how can they take part on the missions of ASEAN this year and benefit from them?
As we host the ASEAN in this coming year, and that's pretty soon, we are going to set up in the malls a place for our MSMEs to be able to look for jobs. We'll have a job fair, and we will also have our 3M on Wheels, which is basically mentoring our micro and small entrepreneurs. On top of that, as the ASEAN starts, we will put up LEDs for all of you to be able to witness what is happening as the ASEAN hosting starts. Go Negosyo and the private sector is here to help all of you. We have our events in SM very frequently, even the Ayala malls. We will publish the schedules when these mentoring programs are going to start running in the malls. And I'm sure many of you have attended the events, these mentoring sessions. You can go as many times as you want. Again, believe in your country. The Philippines has the biggest opportunity to rise up, but it all depends on us citizens putting our every effort and loving our country, that we see success not only with those in big business, but especially our goal is to help those at the bottom of the pyramid, the micro and the small entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Maraming salamat sa isang oras na pagsama sa amin upang tunghayan ang isang makabuluhang usapan tungkol sa negosyo dito lang sa Open for Business. Hanggang sa susunod na linggo, samahan nyo kaming muli dito sa Open for Business. Catch us too on Facebook and YouTube. Like and subscribe on our social media page at Net25 TV. We will bring you more insights from industry experts, thought leaders, CEOs, and featured SMEs. Together, let us help encourage business development in the Philippines, sharpen your business acumen, fill the pulse, and set the trend for as long as you're informed and open for business. Ito po si Cesar Vallejos. Marami pong salamat.